Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about Kamala Harris. I don't know whether she's going to get the traction that will be necessary or not. My goal is to be fair in explaining what's happening. And I think that should be everyone's goal, but I know that there are people that are just like, they're just so pro-Trump or so pro or anti-Trump or whatever that they almost can't see straight. I'm trying to be fair. So this was a Harris rally in Wisconsin today. They seem fairly enthusiastic about what's going on here. I mean, it seems like she's starting to get some momentum. Now, the question is, will that momentum last? Here's Kamala Harris's Do Americans Approve? This is from 538, which is a reputable polling organization. Do Americans approve or disapprove of Kamala Harris? And if we look at the poll as of July 23rd, disapprove is at 51%, approve is at 37.8%. That's not very far from Joe Biden's disapproval. This is Biden. How popular is Joe Biden? This is his disapproval at 56 to 38%. But she is a breath of fresh air, and she's not Biden, and she doesn't have the handicap that comes with being potentially too old to actually do the job. So there's a renewed vigor, and she's raised, what, 60 some odd million dollars in a day or two. Okay, let's see what happens. Here's a new Reuters poll. Harris up, and now this is a general poll conducted after Biden dropped out, and that's very important to understand. Harris 42%, Trump 38%. And there's a margin of error of about 3%, maybe 4%, depending on the size of the poll. And so, okay, I mean, that's looking good for her. I've got to give that to her. Now, here a little bit about this. Harris leads Trump 44 to 42 in the U.S. presidential race, Reuters poll finds. Just one line I want to point out, and this is important. Harris, whose campaign says she secured the Democratic nomination, full stop. Okay, so I think what's going to happen is that they're going to simply coronate Harris rather than actually go through the hard work of allowing an open convention and allowing people to choose, or they're going to try to do this at least. And I think that will be bad for Harris. If Harris went through the process and was gone through and we said nope to this person and no to that person, no to this one and no to that one, and she still won, that would raise her stature. Okay, it's kind of like when Republicans are saying, I think quite stupidly, Republicans are saying that, well, you know, if Biden is too old to run for president again, and he's, you know, got health-related issues, he should drop out now. Okay, so if he drops out now, if he resigns right now, what happens is that Harris becomes president, and then instead of a vice president taking on a president, a vice president taking on a former president, you have a president taking on a former president, and it raises Harris's stature. So be careful what you ask for, Republicans. Okay, so I think they're going to just crown her at the convention rather than go through the process. But the process builds you and makes you stronger so that you can contend. And I think that's a foolish error. But they seem to want to do that. And Harris comes with all the baggage that Biden had. I mean, she was part of the administration. She can't really run away from Biden's policy. She can say, well, he did this, but I would do that. Politically, it's going to be very difficult for her to do that. Okay, she led Trump 44 to 42 in a national poll, a difference within the 3 percentage point margin of error. Okay, and it's a national poll. And the other thing that I want to point out is national polls aren't the same as the polls in the swing states where it really matters. Okay, another general election national poll, Real Clear Polling. This one has Trump up 51 to 48. And this just came out as well. And so, you know, is it Harris up? Is it Trump up? We just don't know. It's very close at this point. I don't know what the New European magazine is. I've never seen it before, but the bullet that hit Trump, bullet hit Trump, but it killed Joe Biden. Politically, it certainly did, because the contrast between Biden, who couldn't seem like he could get it together, and Trump standing up and had clearly some physical courage to stand up after that. It was quite a contrast, and this is why Democrats were pushing against Biden and saying, look, you really got to step down. And it was a growing chorus before he actually did. Okay, good morning. Here's a poll for you, Trump. Okay, this poll is spelled incorrectly because in a tweet, just a little bit, no, it wasn't a tweet, it was a truth or something along those lines. At any rate, in something that Trump put out, he spelled poll wrong, or whoever writes his tweets for him spelled poll wrong. I don't know if he did it himself or what. But look at this, 52-47, 76-21, 62-37. Looks amazing, except there's two problems with this. Okay, first, this is July 16th to 18th, 2024. This is before Biden drops out, and it's all kind of theoretical. Once it's actually happening, that becomes a little bit different. Second, okay, 52-47, I think that's probably fair, and that's women voters. Women are about half the population. Men, women. Okay. Black voters, 76-21. But black voters are a very small portion of the population. And so it's only like, let's say, less than 15%. And so that's not going to make that much of a difference. But that he's still gaining 21% among black voters, that's good for Trump compared to previous years with previous Republican administrations. And then voters 18-29, 62-37. But I've seen just the opposite. So it's hard to tell like where exactly we are. Let's look at this. This is a tweet by Randy Mott. Harris does pick up black votes, that Biden was losing, but she is a catastrophic failure with white voters and male voters. These internals tell me that there is no path for her to win. This is based on using the demographic yardstick in the key battleground states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Maryland. Okay, so I think what it's saying that this is a poll, and I don't know where this poll comes from, but let's say it's coming from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Maryland. And this unpacks the poll a lot more for us. And we're going to look at some of the unpacking here. And it's important to unpack it because you can't just go general, it's 52-48 or something like that. You can't do that. You have to break it down and see who's doing what. Now, Harris is on top, Trump is second. So in each of these, Harris is first and Trump is third. So total, Harris has 47%, 49% for Trump. Republican, this is no surprise. Only 4% of Republicans are for Harris. There's a reason for that, right? Politically, I mean, policy-wise, like they just can't. I understand you would say, but Trump is so bad or whatever. Yeah, there's some of us that are like, I can't vote for him either, but I can't vote for Harris. Okay, so Trump would pick up 93% of Republicans. On the other side, Harris will pick up 97% of Democrats and only 2% of Republicans, and Trump will pick up 2% of Democrats. So it's about the same kind of ratio. I mean, there's a little bit more enthusiasm on the Democrat side for Harris than for Trump, but it's basically the same thing. What really matters is when you look at independents. What happens to independents? Because independents will decide the election. Of independents, 41%, according to this poll in the swing states, for Harris, 55% for Trump. Now, that's going to change one way or another. This is just an early poll, and we'll see over time what happens. But let's look at the breakdowns, because I think the breakdowns will stay largely the same in some other categories, like men and women. Men, Harris gets only 37%. Men, 60% for Trump. Maybe it's testosterone or, masculinity or whatever, but men break very heavily for Trump. With women, it's not quite the same break, but it's close. 56% of women break for Harris and only 40% break for Trump from women. Okay, and then you have college educated, 4-year college degree. If you do have a 4-year college degree, you break 54-44 for Trump over Harris over Trump rather, and no college degree 32-66, almost double, or actually, yeah, more than double for Trump as opposed to Harris. Then we look down at age. Age 13-34, Harris 39, Trump 58. Okay, that's surprising. That's a reversal of what you saw in the other poll, which is why I'm saying you have to triangulate on multiple polls, just like you have to listen to more people than just me. Go listen to others as well and try to make sense of what's going on. 35 to 49, still Trump 54 to 44. Once you get to 50, it's 45 to 53. Harris 53 to 45, and then Harris again in 65 plus 54 to 43. So once you get to about 50, something shifts. If you're looking at by just demographics like white men or white, black, and Hispanic, 32 to 66 of white men for Trump, or 66 to 32 for Trump, 49 to 48 for white women for Trump, and then when you get to just white, 57 to 40 for Trump, and when you get to black, 81 to 11 for Harris, and when you get to Hispanic, 52 to 46 for Harris. But that 52-46, that is crazy high in Trump's column for Republicans. So that's what you need to see here. Okay, let's look at some other polling here. Quinnipiac poll has Trump 49 to 47, but again, this is new. This is very young. General election, Trump versus Harris. This is Real Clear Politics average 48.5 to 46.6. Again, it can shift, but that's where we are right now. What you really need to see is the battleground states. Nothing has been changed yet about the Trump, what was Trump-Biden, but before Biden dropped out just a couple of days ago, Trump was beating him in every battleground state. What'll be really interesting to see is once they get the polling, what happens when they replace Biden's name with Harris's, and then you see how this changes. And my guess is it will change some. I'm really interested in the predicted market. This is where people actually spend their own money, and the Democrat nominee will be, and Kamala Harris at 91 cents out of a dollar. Like, they really believe that she's going to be the predicted winner. And then you see 2024 presidential election winner. And then you see, will Harris as the 47th president of the United States. This is a newer one than this one. And so that's why part of the discrepancy between these, because the first one here predicted Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. The second one here, the newer one, and I think the newer one's the one that you want to focus on, has Harris up 52 to 48. And it was 50-50 yesterday. And 2 days ago, it was like Harris at like 20 some odd percent, or 3 days ago, Harris had only about 20 some odd percent. So things change over time, and she's gaining ground. Now, with that, I want to talk about one other topic somewhat related. Trump may regret choosing J.D. Vance as his running mate, political scientists say. Now, J.D. Vance is the most anti-Ukraine candidate that he could have possibly selected. I mean, he's the most MAGA, full-throatedly MAGA candidate out there, and he picked them, when he thought he was going to beat Biden fairly easily and could double down on his MAGA policy and ignore the war hawk kind of wing, the Reagan Republicans, the Libertarians. I mean, he shouldn't have done that, but he did, and now he has to deal with a whole different problem set. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance is out at a rally with, this is a state Senate candidate, Ohio State Senator George Lang at a J.D. Vance rally says, "I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country." Good grief. Like, stop with the rhetoric. Now, I chastised all politicians right after the shooting, saying, like, bring the tone down. And people will say, well, you weren't saying that before. Yes, I was. I was saying that before, and I'm saying it now. Whether you're left, right, or in the middle, this kind of rhetoric does not need to be. Mercifully, this guy had to apologize. George Lang apologizes for a divisive Civil War comment made at a J.D. Vance rally. I don't know how much he means apologizing, but he was forced to apologize, and that's a good thing. While we're at it, I saw this Let's Go Brandon store. So if you don't know the story behind Let's Go Brandon, this is a horrible one. They're at a NASCAR. This is cars going around in a big loop for hundreds of miles, and NASCAR race car racing, and the crowd is chanting something, and the commentator talking to the news with the microphone can't quite make out, or she decides not to say what it is, but they're chanting F, you can fill in the rest of that F word, Joe Biden, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. And she says, I don't know what they're saying. I think they're saying, let's go Brandon. I think Brandon was the name of one of the race car drivers. And this became kind of a meme. It's a t-shirt. It's a bumper sticker. It's wrong. F Joe Biden, F Kamala Harris, F even Donald Trump. It's wrong. Don't do that. That's just, what good does that do? It does no good. And we should leave it out of our political discourse. Okay, last little bit. When you're arguing with people in Twitter or in the comments or whatever, just remember those people saying, America first, stop helping Ukraine, might be not even Americans, or might be bots, or might be like, and I'm not just making the point about America first. I'm just saying they're sowing division on wherever they can sow division. Stop fighting with that. Just look for places where we can find unity and agreement and working toward positive solutions. All right, that's all that I have. I hope that helps clarify where we are now. It's clear as mud. We only know but so much, but hopefully that helps us understand where we are. Kamala is gaining some momentum. The question is, how long will she be able to keep the momentum? Will it be a little burst and then drop down, or will it just keep going? And that's what we need to understand. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.